Hi, this is Frank Carmody. So we're going to take a look at a couple of different types of constraints. So we're going to go New, Standard IPT. Okay, we're going to go Create 2D Sketch. And we're just going to create a simple circle here. And we're going to make it a 1-inch circle. Right click, Finish 2D Sketch. Now we're going to extrude. And we're going to make this 6 inches. Then we're going to go ahead and save it off. Okay, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to create a new IPT again. And this time we're going to create a 2D sketch once again. And we're going to create a rectangle. We're going to mention that to be 3 inches by 5 inches. And we're going to create a circle in the center that is 1 inch. And we're going to go ahead and dimension out. The dimension should already be correct because I used the dotted lines that we talked about in earlier lessons. Okay, so that's 2.5 and 1.5 to put it right in the center. We're going to right click, Finish 2D Sketch, and then we're going to extrude to 1 inch. We'll click OK. All right, and then we're going to save off this part. So we're going to call this is lesson 12 and block with round hole. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and we are going to create a new assembly. And in that assembly, we're going to go ahead and click Place, and we're going to select our block and open. Remember, we'll create the initial block first, and then if I click more times, I get more blocks. If I remember, I can just place another one if I want. I click Cancel, that made me get out of the tool. Click again for another block, right click OK. Then we're going to place a third object, and that's going to be our peg. And just click. Okay, we're going to take a look just at a couple of constraints here. So let's say we want to constrain this peg up against the side of this block. Okay, so that's going to be the tangent constraint. Okay, we have a couple of constraints here. We can click inside or outside, so we can click on the peg and a face of the block, and we can click Apply. And now notice that once I get out of the constraint tool, I can go ahead, I can actually move this block around, but notice that it's always tangent. That means that the side of the peg and this face of the block are always locked in place. I'm going to click Control Z to undo that constraint. Okay, we're going to actually constrain it to the outside of the block. So we're going to click Constraint, then we're going to click the Tangent Constraint, then we're going to use this Outside option. Notice it turns blue. So I can click the block, or the peg and the face, and click Apply. And now notice if I go ahead and go around to the right side, notice that if I get out of the constraint tool, I can't, well, it appears that I can drag it, but I actually can't. So if I go around to the side here, it'll be easier to see. Notice I can't drag this left and right. It did turn on me there, but notice that those two, those will those faces will be constrained. Okay, now I'm going to add another constraint just to make it easier to see here, and that's going to be mate with the flush option. Okay, and then I can do that, and I'm going to go ahead and click apply. Okay, so now my two faces and my side are all constrained. Okay, notice that. See, I can't move this up or back anymore. I can only move it side to side. Okay, so let's go ahead, and now we are going to actually place another peg. So we go to place. We're going to click round peg again and open. Okay, right click, OK. Now we're going to go ahead and use the insert constraint. So in this case, we're going to choose the peg. And notice we choose one top of the peg. We're going to choose the hole, and notice that it inserted it. Okay, now notice that it gave me 0. It's at the bottom edge there. Okay, so notice that if I change these two options, it will change the way that it's inserted. And I can use the offset there. Notice that if it's offset, let's do -1. Okay, notice that I take it a -1 offset, and that brings it up the depth of that block there. And now the two faces are even. And I can click apply and get out of the constraint tool just to show. And so now that insert actually is kind of like it's kind of the equivalent of doing a mate on the center lines of the hole and the peg, and as well as a mate flush to the top of the peg, the top face of the peg and the top face of the block. So that's kind of a combination constraint there. Next one, let's go ahead and do an angle. Okay, first I'm going to go ahead, and this is the first time we're actually be doing a constraint on an edge. So actually I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mate two edges of these blocks. Okay, so I'm going to mate, first I'm going to mate this edge of this top block, and I'm actually going to mate the edge of this other block here. Okay, so now those edges are mated. And I'm going to click apply. Now I'm going to do a flush constraint on the two faces. So I'm going to flush this face and this face, and I'm going to click apply. Okay, now let's take a look at what that resulted in. So basically these two blocks, I can move this, but it almost acts like a hinge, right? Okay, so that edges stay mated, these two faces stay flush. So basically I can move this in this kind of 360-degree turn. And now we're going to go ahead and do an angle constraint. So we're going to constrain. I'm going to choose the angle constraint, and we're going to choose these two faces. Okay, so right now they're 0 degrees. Now let's take a look at how this works. So we're going to put in 30 degrees. Okay, and notice that 30 degrees from 0 means that I raise this block up. So if I go 90 degrees, okay, that's going to create this 90-degree angle. And remember, it's on a 360-degree rotation. So let's say that I put 280 degrees. Notice that I get kind of this, it would spin all the way around and I'd get this kind of negative angle. I could also do the same effect by doing a negative, so I could do -30. Okay, and that would give me kind of a essentially -30 and 330, right? Because 360 minus 30 would be the same. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to put it at a 90-degree angle here. And apply. Okay, so those are our constraints. So we basically, let's just kind of review. We just did a sample of the tangent constraint, the insert constraint, and the angle constraint. There are some more options in there. So you can kind of take a look at those and kind of play around with those as you want to. We can also do motion constraints, transitional, and constraint sets, but we're not going to cover those in this video. So, okay, so go ahead and create something like what I have here using the mate flush, the angle, directed angle, as well as the tangent outside option, and the insert constraint with the aligned option. Okay, good luck.